Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rosie and I am a mother of two, and on my channel we talk about parenting children with neurodivergence while suffering with mental health. On today's video we will be talking about the journey to a diagnosis. We're going to be talking about my journey, which isn't really long, but we're also going to be talking about my daughters. They're very different, even though they've been put on the waiting list within 18 months of each other, I think. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that, and I'll just give you an idea of what you should be expecting if you want to go ahead with the journey. So back in 2020, I was suffering with really bad mental health because of the pandemic and moving away from my family. I didn't move that far away, but it was still I couldn't just walk to see them. I had to get on the bus or the train, and at the time obviously we were all wearing masks and it was very overwhelming and quite stressful. So I went to my doctor about my anxiety and my depression, and I just kind of had an inkling that there was something else. They referred me to a psychologist, and she called me up because there was no face-to-face meetings, and we just she asked me a load of questions. She asked my husband a load of questions, and then said, oh yeah, I think you've got bipolar disorder. That was really kind of my journey. I'd suffered all throughout my teenage years with depression and anxiety. I had a lot of childhood trauma, so I just kind of put it down to that. But when I went to my first therapist, she said, oh, you've got bipolar, what happened in your childhood? And I was kind of like, how did you know? So it kind of linked. So yeah, it's just kind of like that, really. Both of my daughters have been referred via the school. With my first daughter, the school kind of had an inkling. I asked questions. I was like, do you think there's something else going on with this? Because she's being naughty, and we hadn't had this problem before in our old school, and she just moved to a new school. So I kind of asked the questions like, do you think something else is going on? And they did they had an educator come in and kind of observe her, wrote down her findings, and then gave it to us in a letter, and we took that to the GP, and then we got put on the waiting list. And about a year later, they kind of said, for my eldest, do you think she has autism as well? We think she's showing a lot of signs for it. So they went ahead and put her on the waiting list for autism as well. So yeah, that about just over a year we got the QB test, which was for ADHD. About 8 months after the QB test, we got an appointment where they observed my daughter for autism, went through the questionnaires with us, and then kind of came to a conclusion. That was interesting because we wasn't really expecting the autism diagnosis, because we didn't really see it, but because she's level 1, she did show signs, and the more we have gone past the diagnosis, the more we're seeing it now. It was different for my other daughter, who was put on the waiting list I think 18 months after. So yeah, the school did that through an online system, and we did the questionnaires online, and she's currently on the waiting list for autism and ADHD. It's a bit different, even though it's been such a short time. My youngest is more ADHD, I think, than autism. She is very hyperactive, very emotionally deregulated, and she gets very, very angry if something doesn't go her way, or because she's got speech disorder as well, she gets very frustrated if people don't understand her. So it is quite a challenge, and they are the polar opposites. Like I said in my last video, my eldest is very noise sensitive and wants to be left alone, doesn't like touching unless it's on her terms, whereas my youngest is very, I want to touch everything and everyone. I want that deep pressure, and I want that, I want the height, I want the she's just kind of like a mini tornado. That's all I can describe her as, really. She's she's the polar opposite to my oldest. So yeah, it is a bit of a challenge because the house can be a bit of a war zone sometimes. So me and my husband, we make it work. We tend to do like one or the other. Like my husband will take my youngest and I'll take my oldest, and we'll do like kind of calming techniques for both of them because they're both very different. They require different techniques, so we kind of just calm them down very differently. But normally they can't be together for too long, so we ship them off to family just to give them that break. We've got a very supportive family. My husband's family is very supportive, my family is very supportive, and we're very lucky we have that break, and we give that break to them on a regular basis. Normally during half terms they get that break. I also want to say is, why is there so many questionnaires? Oh my god, literally I had so many questionnaires to fill out. I had questionnaires when we first got her referred, and then questionnaires when we got the appointments, and then I have to do a questionnaire every time she has a follow-up appointment. But they're not just one page. It's like AM and PM for me to do, and then AM and PM for the teacher to do. That's just for ADHD. The autistic one is long as well. It's just, there's so many. I warn you now, there is a lot of questionnaires, and some of the questions are really, really, eye-opening. They ask some really, kind of questions you don't want to say yes to. I remember one question asking, is she a thief, or does she bully people? And I'm like, I don't think so, but am I thinking that because I'm her parent and I don't want her to be doing that? So yeah, it asks some really deep questions. Just my experience of the after of the diagnosis. I get regular medication reviews. So I get regular blood tests done every 6 months to a year to check my liver function because of the antipsychotics I'm on, and my oldest has a review for her medication for the ADHD. With the autism diagnosis, we kind of got left to it. So we kind of got given the diagnosis, and we got given some websites to look at, and a workshop to do, which I attended, and then that's it. We kind of get left to it. So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a you're on your own kind of situation, so it is quite scary, especially if you're a new parent with all this new information. So what I suggest is do your research. There is lots of sites out there. My oldest daughter suffers with her mental health as well, with anxiety. So we use Young Minds website for a lot of our research, because it's talking about young people and their mental health. I also suggest looking up for your in your local area for local support. You may be surprised. We have a group where I live, and they do mainly preschool stuff, but they do have a girls club, and they have a parent and carer group on a Friday that we can attend, which is really helpful. I didn't know about this support until I went to the workshops, and then the last workshop session was all the local support, and it had loads of places that I'd never heard of. It is worth contacting the NHS where you get your diagnoses from. Obviously it's different for every area that you're in, and they may be able to point you in the right direction of local support groups that you can attend. And also self-care is really important. I do different hobbies. I like to have a bath, and I go through different hobbies quite quickly, but I always make sure I have that time for myself. Don't get me wrong, I do slip and I do just forget about it, and then I just sit on the sofa and rot on TikTok, and that's just, I know that's not good for me, so I need to get back into my hobbies. People suggest doing journaling. I don't personally get on with journaling because I find it's too like you've got to write down how you're feeling today. How I find it too kind of regimental for me. So what I do instead is I scrapbook. So I just got a load of stickers. I collect stickers from everywhere I go, and I'd kind of make a page of stickers, and I just stick random stuff in a page, and it looks really nice. But that's like my sort of self-care. You know, my husband's very different. He is very social, so he'll go out and he'll play golf, he'll go and play cricket in the summer, you know, and that's how he gets his self-care. You know, and we're all very different, so you need to kind of find your niche, and what you want to do, whether it's crafty, whether it's going out for a walk, you know, just for like 5-10 minutes a day. Just go for a walk in your local area. I'm very lucky where I live. I've got loads of fields around me, so I can go for a walk and end up, you know, next to a horse. So yeah, that's just a little bit of advice. You know, make sure you take care of yourself, because it is really important. If you're performing on like half a cup, you know, it's gonna be not beneficial for you or your child, like all your children. You need to be able to have that respite and, you know, get yourself in a place where you are happy and you're relaxed. And you know, it is a struggle, you know, every day. It's really struggling. You know, we struggle to get my oldest daughter into school, so you know, it's tough. We have to bargain all the time. You know, okay, you can't take Duckman into school, but we will take him to work, or we will take him and he can look after me or the dog or the cat. You know, it is, you know, you got to just bargain, and it can be exhausting. Also check Facebook. There are some really lovely support groups on Facebook. I'm part of an ADHD UK girls group, so it's for parents of girls with ADHD in the UK. I'm part of the UK autistic group as well. So you know, I've posted on there about sleep, about all sorts, and so many people are so supportive. You know, so you might be left on your own after the diagnosis, but you aren't really alone. Obviously, you'll have videos like mine, and you'll have different support groups, whether it's in person, on Facebook. You know, it is out there. You just got to look for it. Just remember, every child is different. Obviously, what someone else experiences, you won't. You know, just because they're put in that bracket of being ADHD or autistic or OCD, anxiety, you know, I could go on. They're not all going to be the same, and it's very obvious. Obviously, I've got two girls that are very different. My youngest plays with toys all the time. She loves playing with toys, and she likes to line them up. I didn't really notice this until literally a couple of weeks ago. I turned around and all like my knickknacks from my bookcase were all lined up on the fireplace, and I kind of didn't click, and I'm like, oh, I've never noticed that before. But then my oldest daughter, she doesn't like playing with toys. She loves opening them, and she loves blind boxes and all that sort of stuff. She loves Lol dolls, but she won't play with the toy. Not really. She'd rather play a game, a computer game. You know, every child is different, and every journey is going to be different. It's probably going to it's probably changed the process on how you get referred since I did it back in December last year. You just got to bear that in mind. It's always changing, and it's like the advice is always changing as well. What's okay now probably won't be okay in 5 years' time. Just remember, be kind to yourself, get yourself caring, relax, and you know, we will chat about these things. If you have any questions about my journey or my daughter's journey, just leave me a comment and I'll answer, you know, the best I can. But like I said, there are Facebook groups and other groups out there that you can go to as well if I don't know the answer, because I'm not going to know everything. I'm only going to know what I've been through, and it'll be very different to what someone else has been through. Come back next week. I'm going to try and release a video on Fridays with a little topic. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, so I will probably post it on my social medias during the week once I've decided what I'm going to be talking about. Thank you for all your support and everything that I've had during the week. It's been amazing. I didn't think I would reach 10 people, let alone how many other people that have liked and shared my videos. It's been really, really lovely, and it's been really overwhelmingly nice. I'm really, really happy with the support I've gotten. So thank you all so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye.